Hey everybody, I'm going to talk to you about the transits during the month of November, and I will go over what it means for each zodiac sign. We're going to be talking about that with a solar chart. Remember, you can always reach out to solarup.com if you want a more in-depth birth chart reading. That will give you the framework of what you are actually working with on a day-to-day basis, and I will be able to give you your degrees and the different points in your chart where all of these planets and transits will be highlighted for you. So it gives you a really good grasp of what all of this actually means for you specifically and individually. So go ahead and reach out, book your birth chart reading at solarup.com, SOULARUP.com. All right, let's get right into it. So, we've got some things moving around this month. We've got Mars that is going to be moving into Sagittarius. That's going to be there on the 4th. Okay, so that's going to bring a fire and passion into the sign of truth. What truth are we going to find this month? This is also the sign of kind of your higher mind, your purpose, what kind of adventures have you been trying to take up, or where are you going in your life that is expansive? The full moon is going to be on the 5th, and that's going to be in Taurus at 13 degrees. Okay, so wherever this is in your chart is going to be where that energy comes to a head. It's also in Taurus. It's almost directly in the middle of Taurus, just 2 degrees off, a minute and a half or so. So this is going to be highlighting the just financial aspect of everything for everyone. Just the fact that it's a full moon in Taurus. Okay, where does that fall into your chart? That is going to be really good to know. Venus is going to be moving into Scorpio. That'll happen on the 6th. And Mercury, unfortunately, guys, will go retrograde this month. It's going to go retrograde on the 6th, and it's going to, or I'm sorry, on the 9th. You see, there you go. That's a prime example of what happens on a Mercury retrograde, which we are already in the shadow of. So please forgive me as I stumble through this video. I will make it. Um, the 9th and the 29th, okay, that's the day that it's going to start going retrograde, and the 29th is when it will move forward. Those 2 days are very important when that motion goes either backwards or forwards. It's jolting, right? So make sure that you don't get into any unnecessary arguments. Save any important communication for a different day. The 9th and the 29th, you're going to be all kinds of scatterbrained. Nothing will go the way that you want it to go if you don't understand that it can all just be let go. So move forward in love on those days. Definitely just expect some miscommunications, anything like that. So we've also got Jupiter that's going to go retrograde, and that's going to happen in Cancer at 25 degrees. That's going to be on the 11th. So that is not near as impactful to us on a day-to-day basis as Mercury retrograde, but we will feel it a little bit. So I will show you where that's going to be in your chart as well. The new moon this month is going to be in Scorpio, and that's going to be at 28 degrees. That will happen on the 20th. So 2 weeks after the full moon, and it's going to be in the other sign that has to do with finances. Okay, so this month is definitely about finances, but very deeply also about transformation. The sun will move into Sagittarius, of course, on the 21st. And so that is going to also kind of nudge for that truth to come out, that light to be, there, especially while Mercury is retrograding in that area. It'll be really nice to have a little bit of clarity with that. And last but not least, Saturn will go direct at the end of the month on the 27th in Pisces at 25 degrees. So give it a little bit of time. It'll be back in Aries and ready to move things forward. All right, let's jump in and see where this falls in your chart. Okay, so Aries, let's start with you as we normally do because you start the zodiac. The full moon is going to be in Taurus. That's going to be your second house. So this is going to have a lot to do with your money. Not only is it in Taurus, but it's also in the second house, and that's the natal house. So you can definitely expect either a boost in your finances or some clarity on how to boost your finances. Okay, what kind of self-worth is coming up for you? Definitely stay positive and stay in love with yourself during this time, because if you can be positive, then the most positive manifestations will occur with that energy that aligns with you. And in your case, it is in the second house of money. So let's go with it. 2 weeks later, your new moon is going to be in Scorpio. So that's going to be other people's money. That's going to be shared resources. That's going to be secrets. That's going to be deep, deep transformation. So you have the opportunity to really transform your finances, really be able to utilize this energy and make sure that you are living in that self worth. Because once that new moon comes around, it's going to be the dark of the moon. There's not going to be a lot of energy, right? So you're going to go, wow, I just want to kind of sit in my own mind. And then it's going to be in Scorpio, which is already a very secretive sign where it will bring you into the depths of your emotions. Being the moon, being Scorpio, all of these things are very relative. So remember that you will have that opportunity to kind of, whatever comes to light on the full moon, you're going to have that opportunity in 2 weeks at the new moon to say, okay, well, this is how I'd like it to go differently. This is what I'm going to set for my intentions for the month ahead. This is what I'm going to completely let go of and allow transformation. And this is how it's going to go from here on out. So just really listen, allow yourself that resting time, new moon, no moon, low energy. If there is any energy at all, you run out fast. Okay, that happens for all of us. It's okay. Plan accordingly. That's going to be on the 20th, I believe. And so, you're really, that's kind of, it's all about that money polarity for you. So you're looking at how you grow your resources and where you get your resources. So that's all really cool. So you have a lot going on in that Scorpio Sagittarius house placement there on your chart. So you've got Mars in Sagittarius. You have Mercury that starts out in Sagittarius and is going to move into that eighth house of Scorpio. And then the sun, of course, will move into Sagittarius. And you've got Venus in that eighth house too, saying, hey, don't fret. You've got love here. So if you get to the point where you're feeling too much depth or too afraid, don't allow fear in. Venus is there, so she can definitely brighten things up for you. She puts love into any situation that she's in. She also brings finances. And so the fact that it's in the shared resources or how you collect your finances, you've got a financial gain all month long, regardless of where the full or new moon are. It's just completely a blessed month for an Aries. Jupiter is going to be in Cancer. That is going to be in your fourth house. Okay, so it could have a lot to do with your actual mother, because that is a very motherly sign. It's your roots. It's your mother. It's your home. It's your family. And Jupiter is blessing this area. So you're definitely going to feel some blessings in that area of nurturing your home, your finances, real estate, things like that. Um, and don't worry that Jupiter is going to go retrograde. It doesn't take everything away. It just gives you an opportunity to revisit what it is that you see for yourself in that category. Saturn is going to be in your 12th house, which will end up moving forward towards the end of the month. And so that's in Pisces. It's kind of just been sitting there in your 12th house saying, there's something that we want to form, there's something we want to build, and you're going to kind of start seeing that move forward and probably start being able to take action as that moves forward as well. So that is pretty much the chart for the month of November for Aries. You definitely have a lot going on with the finances, so be happy about that. And let's go forward. Taurus. Okay, so you have the full moon in Taurus. That's going to end up in your first house, and the new moon will be in your seventh house, which will be in Scorpio. And just because it's not in the second and eighth house like it is for an Aries doesn't mean anything, because everybody will have a flare with the finances this month because of the moons being in Taurus and in Scorpio. So your full moon will happen in your first house. It's going to be all about you, and it's beautiful. It is your time to shine. It is your time to really get your needs met. Is this something that you've been working towards? Maybe you hit a goal. Maybe there's been something that you've been trying to do, like, say, lose weight or anything like that. And then you realize on that day you have hit your goal. Things like that can definitely come up for you. The full moon is going to bring light, right? So you're going to have a lot of energy. So you specifically will have energy. Of course, everyone has more energy on a full moon, but being in your first house, it's really all about you. 2 weeks later on the new moon, you will have that seventh house energy. You may very well just want to be alone with your partner and really just kind of draw in that beauty of the deep emotion. And it's going to be in love because Venus is there. You're definitely, it's all about you and the other. If you're looking for a partner, it may be a good time. It is a good time to set intentions of what type of partner you're looking for. Really start to manifest that. Work on yourself, because you have the opportunity to do so with that full moon. And then in 2 weeks, you'll say, okay, well, this is what I've been working on. This is what I've found. This is what I'm ready to let go of. This is what I'm ready to receive. And then you can set those intentions for that beautiful relationship that you've been looking for. And if you're with a partner, you just may want to be with them and enjoy that space with them. Mercury will be moving backwards from Sagittarius into Scorpio, giving our minds all the time to pause and reflect and go, okay, we were all ready to, shoot for the moon. We were all ready to go on a trip. And everybody was talking about what it is that they believe in the most, but then now all of a sudden we're going, hold on, first of all, I don't even remember what I was saying. My lips aren't working as a team, and my communication style is just going downhill. And then now suddenly all I want to do is be in my private world. That's completely fine. That's exactly what it's intended to do in this retrograde. Okay, so it's going to say, hey, you were going forward with your big picture plans, and that's great, but what were you missing? Did you forget about you? Were you maybe intending to kind of let go of some things before you moved forward? What else can you get rid of? What else can you shed before you move forward into this idealistic future? And the sun will move into Sagittarius as well. So that's going to kind of shed more light on that. So you're not going to be alone, even though it's going to be a retrograde Mercury. The sun will be there to kind of light that up for you, and it's going to bring life to that area. Mars is there too, so it's going to bring passion and drive. You're going to be just fine. Um, Jupiter is going to be in your third house, and that is in Cancer. So that's still very much, you may find yourself either communicating a lot with your mother or communicating with your children. Could be a thing too, if you are a mother, especially because it's a very nurturing sign. Or you may find yourself communicating with siblings. Either way, what's going to happen is there's going to be a softness in your communication. And that's really nice and helpful when Mercury decides to go retrograde. We're going to really need all the help that we can get there. And when Saturn moves direct in Pisces, that will be a chance for all of us to really kind of just construct our dreams in the way that we've been wanting to do it. Gemini, the full moon is going to be in Taurus in your 12th house. It's going to say, hey, yeah, I'm bringing you a lot of light and a lot of energy, but I'd really like it if I could do that in a private way. Maybe spend some time in nature. Maybe just create a beautiful sacred environment for yourself for when that full moon happens, and you can really use that energy to connect with yourself on a subconscious level, on a level of depth that really resonates in your transformation. Because, of course, in 2 weeks, that new moon being in Scorpio is going to be asking you for that release, that transformation. And what intentions do you want to set to move forward after you have let go of all of these things? You kind of have an advantage with that full moon being in the 12th house because it gives you that head start, and you really kind of have that opportunity to sit with yourself, sit in nature, whatever it is that keeps you grounded, keeps you in tune with who you are and what you want. And all of this, it's in Taurus too. And of course, we talked a lot about money so far. That is a huge benefit of Taurus, but it's also an earth sign. So it's going to help you connect to nature very easily. You can stay grounded and you can really be grateful for the resources that you have. And so with that new moon, you can take all of that information, you can use that to set whatever intentions, to let go of whatever you need to, and move forward in love. And of course, you've got Venus there supporting that. You've got the opportunity with the retrograde Mercury to kind of take a step back. Mercury rules Gemini, so it's definitely kind of more of a kind of like a halt for a Gemini, right? Because we're used to having this operation with Mercury, and there's so much communication going on all the time that all of a sudden it's hard to communicate. And we go, wow, this makes me feel like I'm not even who I am. But that's not true. You just are like everyone else and need that moment to pause and reflect as well. It's okay for you to do that. Although it may feel very unnatural, um, there's nothing really natural feeling about it. But remember this, that a retrograde doesn't actually mean the planet is moving backwards. It just appears that way because of where it lands on the ecliptic and how we view it from our location on Earth. So really it's asking for a shift in perspective. You can equate it to the Hanged Man in tarot. It's not like, you're not necessarily hung up, you're just being asked to look at it from a different viewpoint. So use that opportunity to do that. And then you've got Venus and Mars and the Sun all in that group. So you've got a lot of assistance and a lot of love. And then this is all beautiful because although Jupiter is going to move backwards, it will be in Cancer, which is it is exalted in Cancer, which means it's very comfortable there. It does its greatest work there. So to spend a little more time in Cancer and then to move back forward again, it's nothing I'm going to complain about, that's for sure. Um, Saturn is going to be moving forward and it's going to start heading out of Pisces, which I think is a fine placement. Yes, it does feel a little bit like, wow, what am I trying to build? I don't know. It's a little confusing. It's a little Neptunian. But what's really happening is you're able to construct your dreams in the way that you want. And having it be retrograde for what feels like so long now, it's given us that opportunity to say, well, this is what didn't work. Let's rebuild it in this way. And so now we have that opportunity to do so. Okay, so Cancer, the full moon is going to end up in your 11th house. It's going to say, hey, it's time to get with your friends. It's time to be with your community. What are you going to be able to contribute to the community? Is there some sort of humanitarian thing that you've been trying to accomplish? Well, it's going to be very supported at that time. There's a huge light shining on your friends, the groups that you surround yourself with. There's so much in a way, and it's being lit up, right? So it's an illuminary. So whatever comes to light comes to fruition on the full moon. That is something that is a pure intuitive hit for you to follow. Things tend to come to a head on a full moon. So if there is something you've been trying to start, or is some kind of resolution that has been waiting to come to a head, that is when you're going to see that happen. And then in 2 weeks, when the new moon is in Scorpio, that's going to end up in your fifth house. Although that is the house of fun, creative self expression, children, it's a new moon, so there's not a whole lot of energy there. But it's going to ask you to really understand what it is that fulfills you. How are you being expressive in truth? How are you handling whatever it is with your children? Are you working with children? Do you even, is this something that you are trying to move towards? Or is it just time for you to realize that you aren't doing enough for your personal self care? How can you plan to have more fun in the future? Those are the kinds of things that you're going to want to be thinking about when you set your intentions for the new moon for the month ahead. And that's going to be that whole kind of area. You can see that cluster there in Sagittarius and Scorpio. It's going to be your sixth, fifth house. So there's a lot to be said about that area, which is going to be your fun, your kids, your creative self expression, fifth house, and then work, service, health, sixth house. So, what kinds of things are you doing with your job, or kind of in that act of service category, that is not only helping you in truth be who you are, express yourself in truth, but also helping either children or your children, um, and making sure that you're having fun doing it, because that is definitely something that Mercury moving backwards into the fifth house for you is going to want you to understand. It's going to be in Scorpio. It's a deep, deep healing sign. So you're going to feel emotional, and it's going to be there to allow you to understand, like, hey, maybe there is something that I could be doing that would bring some more fun to my day to day. And you're going to have Venus there, who is the lover, the supporter. It's going to give you that peace. And then the sun, of course, is going to move into Sagittarius, which is going to bring truth as well. Mars is there for action. So you've got a lot kind of going on in that category. So work, fun, your creative self expression. And then when Jupiter goes retrograde, that's going to end up in your first house. So it's going to be saying, hey, what is it that I've been doing that is nurturing for me? How have I been nurturing myself? If it's not enough, then that's a really good time for you to be aware of that. And that's okay. You just kind of let that go, and you start to realize these things so that you can move forward in the way that you want to and the way that you deserve to be nurtured. Saturn is going to go forward in Pisces. That's going to end up in your ninth house. So when that starts moving forward, it's going to kind of be assisting in your big picture, right? So the ninth house is that big picture, higher mind. There is potential for long travel, but Saturn is building something, so it's kind of that responsibility. It's the builder, right? There's structure there, and it's been in Pisces sitting backwards, going, "What are we building when we move forward?" Okay, so those are the answers that you're going to get. All right, so for our Leos, the full moon is going to be in your 10th house, and that's going to be in Taurus, and that's your career. Okay, so there's a huge light that's going to be shining on your career. And with it being in Taurus, there's a huge potential for financial gain. So if you're going for a promotion, you may see that that's something that does come to fruition during that full moon. If it's not something that's already in the works, it's definitely going to be a good time to put in for a promotion. This is also your public image. Okay, so how you present yourself in the world, how people see you, and how you carry yourself. So that's, you're getting that light kind of just shined all over you, and it's in that earthly sign of Taurus. So stay grounded for sure, and just allow that beauty and that light to really shine upon you, because you're on center stage here, which is not a place that you don't like to be. You are a Leo. It's going to be a good time for you. And in 2 weeks, when that new moon happens, it's going to be in Scorpio, and that will be in your fourth house. you may very well want to be at home and just stay home. It is a great time for you to allow that, keep the lights low, set up a scene, don't worry about anything. If you don't have the energy to get a bunch of house chores done, don't worry about it. Allow yourself the peace of mind to just really be in touch with yourself, because it's in the house of home and roots. It's asking you to actually physically stay home. And there is such a small amount of energy on a new moon that really, you're not going to want to do a whole lot anyway. And if you do, that energy will be short lived. But it's also in Scorpio. So that's that deep transformational sign, and there is so much depth there that it can feel a little bit turbulent. But if you just allow those things to come up as, any trigger is really just trying to guide you into what needs to be healed. So if you can get answers from those things, work on those things. You don't necessarily have to work on them that day, but it's great to journal about them or just jot down whatever comes up for you. And you can put that into your intentions, and you can be working on that going forward. It just gives you a lot of answers. So definitely listen to the depth of the emotional world on the new moon. And you've also got, at that point, Mercury will already be retrograding into Scorpio. So you're also going to kind of be at a lack of definitive thought. Whatever you're thinking is not exactly necessarily how it is. So write those things down, and it's really good to just kind of observe, just be the observer and allow yourself the grace and the freedom to have whatever is coming up just get out of you. You can let it go, you can put a pin in it and address it later. It doesn't matter. Just don't bottle anything in. That scorpion energy can kind of bottle things in and turn it into sort of like an eye for an eye revenge type of feeling. So if you're looking at it in the lens of transformation and getting answers so that you can heal and move forward in a better place, that is the way to go. You've got Venus there. So it's going to be that loving energy will be supporting you. So it's pretty certain that you're going to be more of a positive expression of these energies anyways. But definitely keep that in mind, because it is so easy for us as humans with ego patterns and old subliminal programming to be stuck in that negative thought and spiral down. Do not allow that to happen. Just use those things as answers and work with them. Just allow, they can be there. It's okay. It's kind of that shadow self, right? But don't allow them to consume you. You've got Venus there. Call on her energy if you need it. The sun is going to be moving into Sagittarius as well. It's going to be illuminating the truth and kind of your purpose. It's also going to be in your fifth house. So that's going to be your creative self-expression. It's going to be a boost in who you are, who you're meant to be, how you want to, be in that public image with that full moon. I mean, you've got the whole energy kind of saying, hey, how am I when I'm out there? How am I when I'm in here? How can I balance those two and merge the worlds to where I do have that earthly um, connection and that groundedness, and I can be who I am in truth, stay grounded, be better and healed, and still make more money in my career. I mean, or become who I am in the public eye. There's so many things that kind of need to be dialed in, and that's with all of us, right? But this has given you a really good opportunity with that placement. All right, Virgos, the full moon's going to be in your ninth house. Higher mind, big picture, long distance travel. Is there anything that you've been wanting to pick up and learn? This might be a beautiful opportunity to do that. And if you're going to be doing these things, starting anything new, you better do it on the full moon, because a few days later, Mercury will go retrograde and you don't want to start anything at that point. So it's nice that it's falling in your ninth house 4 days before. 2 weeks after that, full moon is going to be the new moon, of course, in Scorpio. That'll be in your third house. That's going to be kind of short travel. It's communication for sure. Don't expect too much with communication between you and anybody else. I think that this new moon is really asking us to communicate with ourselves and find the answers that are deep within. It is in Scorpio. We've got a retrograde Mercury. All of these things are just kind of, and we've got Venus there supporting us in love so that we can really not only find the answers of what's maybe troubling us, but we can heal these things with love and we can move forward. So that communication is, that house is definitely a ruler of communication, that third house, but it's really, really not the best time to be communicating with any kind of driven result, right? So you 100% should keep that communication within yourself and use it with love and allow those answers to come up for you, because it could be anything. It could be anything. There's definitely some opportunity for, resources, a boost of resources for anyone this month, because we've got that Taurus Scorpio opposition. And the moon is going to be moving into the sun will be moving into Sagittarius, which is going to be in your fourth house. So there could be some blessings in your home, um, with your family, things like that. Mars is going to be there too. So there's some passion, there's some action there. If you're thinking about buying a new house or anything like that, it's probably going to be closer to that time. You've got those planetary energies there to help. Jupiter is going to be in your 11th house when it goes retrograde. It will be in Cancer in the 11th house, which is going to be your friends, your group, humanitarian efforts. Um, it's going to, all the blessings have been there for you. And not that those blessings will go away, but you may see that whatever blessings would have continued to be there kind of take a break, and they come back for you when Jupiter goes direct again. So don't expect a whole heck of a lot of change if you're involved in any kind of a group or a community. It's definitely, nothing negative by any means, but you just may see that you're in more of a planning phase and that things come to fruition down the road. Saturn is going to be moving forward in Pisces. That's going to happen in your seventh house. So if there's sort of anything that's been going on with your significant other, a spouse, or if you've been looking for a relationship, these are the kinds of things that will be activated at that time. It's definitely good to kind of let that Piscean energy fade once it moves back forward and gets back up to Aries, because that's the action sign, right? So we're in the dreamy, kind of confusing era of Pisces where things are dissolving, and it's really just kind of asking for us. What it's been doing is saying, hey, what kind of dreams are you ready to build? And then once it moves into Aries, you'll be able to start seeing those dreams, the beginning of your foundation. Okay, Libra, the full moon for you is going to be in your 8th house. That is in Taurus. You've got a beautiful mutual reception, as we all do with this month's full and new moon, but yours is so incredibly perfect because it's exactly backwards, right? So Taurus is living in Scorpio's house and Scorpio is living in Taurus's house. So those energies are like doubled. So you'll definitely have some financial gain. There's some sort of maybe a debt that will be resolved. There's definitely something that's going to come to a head with either other people's money, your own resources, your self-worth, your values, the values of others, and how those things connect into one. Um, it'll be deeply transformational. I have a feeling, because it's sitting in that 8th house, even though, the new moon will take care of a lot of that transformation because it's sitting in Scorpio. You've still got that energy all across the board. So you're definitely going to want to kind of pay attention to what is asking to be let go of, what is asking to be, maybe you're spending too much on something that isn't productive for you, and you're feeling like if you put your money somewhere else, that could be more beneficial. Listen to those things. The full moon will bring that up for you. And then in 2 weeks, when that new moon happens, it's going to be in Scorpio in your second house. So that's still more money, but it's also asking for you to really think about what you want to do to plant seeds for the future. How can you maybe invest your money? Or this could be bringing a bunch into the area of self-worth. So that second house is very much self-worth, right? So you've got that energy that's going all over the place for you as far as that money, that self-worth, transformation. And then you're going to be experiencing the Mercury retrograde moving into that house as well. So if there are things that seem to be moving more slowly towards the end of the month, that's okay. That's kind of by design. You've got Venus there to support you, and Venus being in that second house, which is the house that it rules, that's very supportive as far as those finances as well. Mars is going to be in that third house, so there's some passion with the sun. Um, there's a highlighted passion, we'll put it that way, of communication. And with that Mercury retrograde, we're all kind of, you may see some confusion going on, or you might just be having fun with the fact that you can't even get your words out appropriately because nothing's going to come out right. That's okay. Do it in love. Use these things as gifts. Get some answers from them. You've got Jupiter up at the top of your chart in that 10th house. That's going to be going retrograde. And that is your career. Okay. That's your public image. So it's going to give you a chance to sit back and say, is this what I want to be doing? Is there something that I could reach for? How can I use my blessings and my gifts to contribute more to what I'm doing? Either whether that's your career or just your public image, how can you be nurturing for yourself so that if you are so much so within, then you are so much so without? And it always starts from within, right? So inside out, allow that to kind of heal you and guide you in that way. And then you can be expressive for everyone else in that nurturing sign of Cancer. And then Saturn is going to move forward into Pisces, which will be in your sixth house of of work and service and your health. So those things are going to be going pretty well for you. You have an opportunity to kind of build upon what you have started with your job, move that into a career, um, and also kind of focus on what you're building that is going to last. Scorpio, the full moon will be in your seventh house. That is going to be in Taurus. So you're going to have that connection to that earth, that groundedness. And it's going to probably have something to do with your partner. Whether you're single and looking for somebody, that is definitely a good time. Or maybe when you would meet somebody, don't discount that. It could be something that is synchronistic and you're not expecting it, but if you have this knowledge, then maybe you wouldn't put that to the side, and you would really think like, hey, maybe I should ask for their phone number. If you're with a partner, this could be a really good time to expect new closeness. It's a good time also to kind of let go of what hasn't been working in the relationship and build that bond to become stronger for you guys in the future. And then in 2 weeks, when the new moon happens, it's going to be in Scorpio in your first house. That's going to really be asking you to kind of delve into yourself and say, hey, what are my needs? Are they getting met? What is it that I need to do for myself? Um, of course, we're going to have that retrograde Mercury as well, which is going to kind of keep us all and every retrograde Mercury kind of manifests a little bit different, but it certainly will give you an opportunity to kind of see what kind of things you're miscommunicating, right? So, what are you trying to say? What are you trying to relay? Um, how are those things being missed? And so this is a really good time for us, especially for you as a Scorpio having that new moon in your first house, it's really a good time for you to kind of look within and just look in the mirror and say, what is the reflection? What am I working on within? Because you are definitely a very deep sign anyway. And so you are used to that transformational energy. Keep that going because you are definitely going to be something that people are watching. You are the one who's been used to this energy. We're all looking at you this month because we're all feeling it. We're just feeling it in a little bit of a different way. So be that leader and, be that strong Scorpio that you are. You've got Venus there that is going to provide you some love, which is beautiful. And then with that kind of cluster of planets going on, it's going to have a lot to do with your second house too, because you've got Mars there, you've got the sun there. So there's certainly an opportunity, especially with kind of that mindfulness, like how can I create more money? It may not happen right away because of that retrograde, but it's going to give you some ideas on how you can bring that back to you. But you do have that light and that passion in that second house, so use all of that energy to boost your higher mind, your values, your resources, your finances. And then Jupiter is going to go backwards in Cancer, and that's going to be in your ninth house. So, what kind of higher mind philosophy have you been working towards? Have you been, in kind of a spiritual practice or studying astrology? Um, is there anything that's kind of been trying to grow in your life? Is there something that you've been working towards? Those are things that, of course, you have that beautiful energy of Jupiter there, but it is going to move retrograde, and that's fine. You're just going to need to understand that that energy is still there. It's just that you may see the fruits of your labor down the road. But it's in the nurturing sign of Cancer, and so just remember to nurture what it is that you have in your vision for yourself. um, Saturn will be moving forward in your fifth house. So, what kind of building are you doing in the way of a creative self expression or having fun for yourself? It's time for you to have fun. It's time for you to take action on that. Whatever it is that you've been trying to build will probably end up being fun for you. All right, Sagittarius, the full moon's going to be in Taurus in your sixth house. So that's going to bring you some luck in your career or some sort of resolution in your career, in your work, in your day to day. What does your day to day look like? Even if you don't have a job, maybe every day you kind of have a routine. What's your daily routine? That's what you're going to kind of have that energy be all about. Okay, so also your health. If there's anything that's been going on with your health, you'll get that boost, and it can be very loving. Connect with nature for sure, especially if there is anything going on with your health. It's in that Taurus sign, and that's an earth sign. It's very deeply connected to nature. Certainly use that energy to help you in that way. Even if you're not unhealthy, even if there's nothing going on, just show your gratitude in that way. Your daily routine, work and service, things like that are all going to kind of be brought out to you. And then 2 weeks later on the new moon, it's going to be in your 12th house in Scorpio, which is going to say, hey, you're really going to want to have some privacy and solitude. You're going to really want to be just kind of shut down and left alone. You can do that. If that's what you need to do, do it. There is nothing wrong with that. You can absolutely communicate with love to anybody else and say, hey, I think I just need some private time. I need some time to myself. I don't necessarily know why. There's nothing exactly wrong. I just feel that I need to be alone. And that's completely fine. It's great to do that in nature as well. If you want to go on a hike or go sit by water, it's a little cold for everyone on the northern hemisphere at least, but it's still a really good time to kind of do that if you can do it. You've got Venus there too, and so that love is really kind of supported there. You're just, when you have a Scorpio sign, you're already kind of in that transformation, you're in that depth, right? But you're also in the 12th house, which is a very, you want solitude, okay? You want privacy. You really just, you need that moment. And so what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to figure out how you're transforming. You're going to want to do that alone, and that's okay. Mercury is going to be going from your first house to your 12th house. So you may start out kind of with a normal amount of energy and like, this is kind of what I'm doing to communicate. And then it'll move backwards and say, hey, is that really how you wanted to communicate? Or was there something else you needed to bring up? Because now we're going to deep dive into your subconscious while going backwards and see if our conscious sign of Mercury can go forward down the road with new insight. And that's definitely possible with that new moon being in Scorpio in that 12th house. So you have a lot to look forward to with that. It's definitely a very deeply healing time for you. And then you've got Jupiter that's going to be moving backwards in Cancer. That's in your 8th house. So that's the natal home of Scorpio. So it's more 8th house transformational stuff. So whatever is coming up for you is definitely on time. It's on purpose. And it's all these planets are there to support you with that. Um, and then Saturn will be in Pisces and it will be in your 4th house. So what kind of things are you building at home? Are you renovating your home? That's possible. Saturn is structure. It's what we build. It's our responsibilities. Maybe you're just taking more responsibility at home. These things, being in Pisces is more kind of wishy-washy, but there's a dream forming, right? And so once we move forward, especially once Saturn gets into Aries, then you're really going to start seeing that action and that plan come to life. Okay, Capricorn. So the full moon is going to be in your 5th house. That is the house of creative self-expression, fun, your children, things like that. You're gonna sports too, anything that kind of brings fun to you. What's the joy in your life? Those things are gonna come up. And if it has anything to do with nature, then you're probably going to find yourself in a very beautiful spot at that time, or you're really going to connect with the moon on that day. Although Taurus is an earth sign, the moon is our natural satellite. So it's very much related. And of course, it moves our tides. So anytime we have the moon in an earth sign, we certainly feel that pull. That's going to be in your 5th house. You can expect any kind of new closeness with your children, anything like that. And then in 2 weeks, when we have the new moon, it'll be in your 11th house. And that's going to be a good time for you to set intentions with what you want to do for or with the community. What are you going to do with your friends? Is there something that you've been trying to get started or a big party you want to plan? Maybe it's a reunion, things like that. You might have the energy to kind of really sit with yourself in that low energy light of the moon, because there's no light from the moon on a new moon, and you're really going to be able to reflect and go, okay, well, here's what I'd like to do. Now, don't get anything started too fully, of course, because Mercury will be retrograde, and it's going to be retrograding into Scorpio as well. So at that point, you may be it's best to just kind of write down your ideas. Don't get anything started, but for sure, listen to what comes up for you, because those things are definitely supported with that new moon being in Scorpio. And we've got Venus there that's going to add love. And then, of course, the sun highlighting truth, and Mars that is going to be the action passion planet that is really ready to just bring the big picture about for us. When Mercury does decide to go retrograde, it will have been in your 12th house already. So you've kind of been in more of a private world as far as your thoughts and communication go anyway. And so it's not going to be super unfamiliar for you. You may not feel it quite as abruptly as most of the other signs. and it's going to be moving backwards into Scorpio, which again, so you're moving from the 12th house of subconscious privacy to that kind of secretive sign of Scorpio where you're really transforming. So you're kind of just in the depths this whole time, which is definitely a good place to be during a Mercury retrograde because it's asking for those answers to come up, and it seems very supported for you at this time. So definitely listen to what comes up for you. You definitely have the supported energy. And then Jupiter will go backwards in the sign of Cancer. That's going to be in your 7th house. That's the house of your spouse, significant other, your partner, the other, just in general. Could be business partner, any legal matters, things like that. So Jupiter is the benefic, right? It's the great benefic. So it's going to give you blessings and luck. But once it goes retrograde, you might just kind of have that nurturing feel of Cancer, and then you'll see the blessings kind of come back to you when we go direct down the road. Saturn is going to be moving direct into Pisces, and that will be in your 3rd house of communication, which is definitely good to have a little bit of support there while we're in the middle of that retrograde of the Mercury retrograde. So then it's going to be moving forward into Aries eventually, which will be in your 4th house. And so that structure is really rooted for you. I mean, for lack of a better term, it is your home and roots, right? And structure building from Saturn moving into your home and roots will really, really root you. It will allow those roots to grow, and it's going to stabilize you so much that whatever you're building with your family will last for sure. So allow that time to just really be telling for you. What is it that Pisces energy has been trying to tell you? What is it that you want to bring to whatever it is that you're building? This could be a lot of fun. Aquarius, the full moon is going to fall in your 4th house. It's in Taurus. Okay. So, and it's smack dab in the middle of Taurus, right? It's right about 14 degrees. So that's going to be basically the center of the sign. What is going on in your home and family? Is there anything that is going, what, maybe there's something that needs to be resolved. There's an opportunity for that to happen. You are getting the support, you are getting that connection with that earth sign, and there's going to be a light shown on whatever is going on. What needs to be adjusted, what needs to be let go of, and what needs to grow into something real. And then in 2 weeks, when the new moon is in Scorpio, that's going to be in your 10th house. If there's a career that you've been wanting to advance in, it's a good time to kind of allow the ideas come up for you. I would definitely not get anything started because we will be in the middle of the Mercury retrograde and things will be very confusing. But jot down any ideas that you have. They're worth pursuing when Mercury goes direct for sure. You can get some really great ideas out of those down the road. You also have the sun that is there. Once it enters Scorpio, it's going to be in the 11th house, and you've got Venus in that 10th house and Mars in the 11th. So that cluster is going on up there for you. It's all about your public image, the community, how you communicate in those ways. Definitely allow the opportunity of the new moon to give you ideas. It's in Scorpio. There are things that may need to be let go of so that you can move forward in the way that actually resonates with you. And again, with this kind of money making um, aspect that we have going on with the full and new moons being in the money signs, you definitely have the ability to be creating more money in your career. Um, there's so much potential for that with Venus there and everything. And then when Jupiter goes backwards, it's going to go into your 6th house of work. So there's an opportunity for you to really kind of take some time to plan out what needs to be worked on so that when we move forward, we're getting those blessings and they're showing up for us on a day-to-day basis, because that is our daily routine. That's what we're doing. You know, just you can tell Mercury is about to go retrograde because I'm already getting twisted up with what I'm trying to say. But we are definitely, we're working on our health in this time. We're definitely seeing some progress there, and blessings and love. It's Jupiter. And then Saturn, when Saturn is going to go direct, that's going to be in your second house of money. So you definitely have a lot of good things going on there. This is certainly a month of financial gain for you and reflection. So just remember, no jumping ahead. Jot down any ideas that you have, and you should be able to use that energy very beneficially once we go direct. With Mercury, we don't want to start anything new during the retrograde. Pisces, the full moon will be in Taurus in your third house. That's going to be communication. It's a really good time to communicate at the beginning of the month before the retrograde starts a few days after that. Or if you want to do any kind of short travel, communicate with siblings, whatever it is, if you're trying to get something started or wrap something up. Like, are you finishing a book? Are you having a conversation with anybody else that you kind of need to come to a resolution on? That's definitely possible on the full moon. And then in 2 weeks, when we get to the new moon, it's going to be in Scorpio in the ninth house. It's going to really be asking you to take a look at what your big picture plan is. Um, but it's going to be asking you to do that in private, right? So we're in Scorpio, we're in the dark of the moon, we're in a retrograde Mercury, but this is all about who you are. So you're going to be able to get answers towards becoming more self-aware. I can tell you that right now, for sure. So listen to that on the inside, see what's coming up for you. You've got all that support there for transforming into something amazing. And just like everyone else this month, there is potential for money, whether that's a gain and just, or a restructuring, whatever that looks like. And then when Mercury goes retrograde, it's going to be going from your 10th house into your ninth. It's possible that things might slow down or get a little confusing in your career. There's potential for for some miscommunications to happen. So if you work with machinery, a lot of the times the machinery won't work right. Sometimes just communicating with either clients or customers can be a little bit more challenging. Doesn't mean it can't happen. It absolutely can, but you just may want to slow down and really kind of be conscious about how you are communicating when it comes to your career. You do have that loving energy from Venus supporting you in the new moon and in that house of Scorpio in the ninth house there. You also have the sun that's going to be moving into Sagittarius, and Mars will be there. And so that light and that support will still be there for your career. So don't worry about that. You're not going to be missing anything. It just may be that you miss crossing a T. Not a big deal. Don't beat yourself up about it. These things happen, and then you'll be able to understand, oh, I just need to slow down a little bit and really be more intentional about my communication right now. And then we've got Jupiter that is going to be going retrograde in your fifth house. So you may see that you want to do a little bit less. You're having fun by doing less. You don't necessarily have all that energy to be out and about doing a bunch of stuff. You may just be loving life kind of in your privacy, which, being a Pisces, that's not a strange feeling for you. You absolutely have that beauty in privacy anyways. But then you've also got Saturn that is going to be in your first house. So if it's in your first house, what are you building for yourself? What's going to happen when it moves forward and starts moving into Aries, which is going to be in your second house? So what are you building that's long lasting, that's high value for you and can bring profit. So there's definitely some things that you can be thinking about there during this month. So definitely stay in love, understand that some deep healing and transformation can occur, and miscommunication. All right, so just to kind of wrap up what the month brings, it's definitely got a lot of energy around finances. That's for everyone. But this Mercury retrograde is really, really asking for us to step back and, if say there is some financial gain, right? Let's not just go gambling it all away. Let's really allow this opportunity to kind of mature into something without just shooting from the hip and thinking that we know exactly what we should do with our money. It's possible that even if we get either big amounts of money, or if we get the insight of how to better spend our money or where to place it, that you may want to just kind of write these things down. You definitely want to look at them again through a clear headed lens when Mercury goes direct on the 29th. Not the 29th itself, of course. The 9th and the 29th, remember, are the days that communication will be the rockiest. So you're not going to want to have any serious talks. Anything that can turn into an argument likely will. So allow yourself to really just, honestly, the best advice is just don't. Just don't. Just let things go. They will naturally progress in the way that they're supposed to. The next day, it's only one day. And then in 3 weeks, it's one more day. And that's fine. So it's only 2 days. But regardless, you can do it. You can wait that day to have that conversation, even if you're feeling so strongly that this conversation has to happen now. You're feeling that way because it is changing direction. It's completely rocky, right? So it's going stationary. So it's like when things are moving forward, they're moving forward, and then all of a sudden, and then it's going to move backward, 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 right? So once it's putting the brakes on, it jolts all of us. So just steer clear on those days. We definitely have a lot of energy towards money this month, you guys. So be on the lookout for any opportunities, and for sure, stay grounded, and most definitely be accepting to inner healing and whatever comes up with that Scorpio energy. The truth with Sagittarius is going to come out. Allow that to come in. Use those things to guide you. The moon is going to light your path, and it's going to darken when you need it the most to come back to yourself. So anyway, again, reach out if you have any questions, if you want to do an in-depth reading on your own personal birth chart and get an even bigger detailed view. That is completely fine. Solarup.com, SOULARUP.com. And of course, the sign of the day today, I decided to go with money. So we've got a flat hand and we've got this shape, right? And it's just like you're holding a stack of money, and you're just going to go put it in my hand. Put the stack in my hand. Okay? Money. Stack in my hand. Money. All right, you guys, I hope you enjoyed this. I hope it's informational for you. And if you need me, I am here. You guys have a great month. Enjoy.